Every night, I would catch glimpses of my wife peeking at me from around the corner of our dimly lit hallway. At first, I thought it was just her playful nature, a silly little game we played. But as the nights passed, unease crept into my heart. I'd hear the rustling of fabric, see her silhouette just out of reach, her eyes glinting in the low light. When I called out to her, she'd emerge, acting as if nothing was amiss, her smile reassuring, but somehow unsettling. "Just me," she'd say, her tone light, but I could feel something lurking beneath the surface. The playful encounters turned into a nightly ritual, and I began to dread going to bed. One evening, the house was silent, and I noticed she hadn't come to peek at me. A knot twisted in my stomach. I stepped into the hallway calling her name, but no response came. Panic washed over me. I rushed to the living room, only to find her sitting on the couch, staring blankly at the wall. "Are you okay?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. "Of course," she replied, turning to me with that same eerie smile, but it didn't reach her eyes. That's when the realization hit me like a cold wave. I had seen her peeking at me too many times, yet the woman before me felt different. My heart raced as I pieced together the fragments. I grabbed my phone to call for help, but when I glanced back, the woman on the couch had transformed into the figure I had seen in the hallway, an imposter, a twisted mimicry of my wife. The real her was gone, and in her place stood something watching, waiting, and pretending to be the love of my life. I worked the night shift at a convenience store, a job filled with mundane tasks and the occasional strange customer. One night, just after closing, I noticed a figure lurking outside. It was a tall man with an unkempt beard and disheveled clothing, standing eerily still by the store window. As I rang up the last customer, I kept glancing at him. He didn't move. His eyes locked onto me. I felt a shiver down my spine. When the last customer left, I locked the door and called the police, explaining the situation. The operator advised me to stay inside and keep my distance. I watched the man, who now began pacing back and forth. Minutes felt like hours as I anxiously waited for help to arrive. Suddenly the lights flickered, and the man stepped closer to the door. He pressed his face against the glass, his eyes wide and frantic. I backed away, heart racing. "Help is on the way," I shouted, but he didn't respond. Then I noticed something odd. His reflection in the glass didn't match his actions. While his face remained pressed against the window, his reflection stood upright, staring directly at me with a sinister grin. Panic flooded my mind. As I stepped outside with them, the man had vanished without a trace. The officers assured me that it was probably just someone trying to scare me, but as I turned back to the store, I felt a chill run down my spine. In the corner of my eye, I caught a glimpse of the man's reflection in the store window, grinning wider than ever. Every night I battled insomnia, lying in bed while my friends fell asleep. My struggle became more intense when I started receiving strange text messages from an unknown number. The messages warned me, "Please stay awake. They're coming for you." At first I thought it was a prank, but the messages continued, growing more urgent. "If you fall asleep, they will get you." I shared my fears with my friends, but they brushed it off, convinced I was overreacting. One night, exhausted and desperate, I finally drifted off to sleep. I awoke to a loud bang, my heart racing. The room felt colder, and I sensed something lurking in the shadows. I grabbed my phone, hoping to call for help, but the screen was cracked, and the messages continued. "You were supposed to stay awake." Panicking, I tried to shake off the sleepiness and fight my exhaustion. But the presence grew closer, and I could hear faint whispers calling my name. Desperate, I splashed water on my face and turned on all the lights.